You're listening to Cinema Rex. It's an Iranian film podcast. Episode 61, Maryam Keshavarz, the Persian version. So, is it Keshavarz, the film belonging to one Maryam Keshavarz?
Yeah, because if it was multiple, it would be Keshavarz ha.
But what about in English?
Then it would be farmers.
It's giving me, like the Ned Flanders, the Flanderses.
Yeah, Flanders is.
Well, we're not knowing how to pluralize the name.
Yeah, Flanders is.
Yeah, like how would Homer Simpson be like, that filmmaking family, the Keshavarz is.
You just get stuck in a loop. Keshavarz is.
That's rude. And speaking of rude, Durud bar shoma dostan aziz. This is the Cinemax podcast. You found the right place. You're back home again with your friends, Kaveh Mohebi.
And Farhan Moradi.
Two dashing young Iranian filmmakers, globe-trotting the world, but only watching films exclusively from one country. Into your eyes and ears, except no eyes, just ears.
I have a question.
We have no video podcast format. What's up?
Do you think we err more on the side of dashing or more on the side of young?
Mm-hmm. I think we err as in like error on both sides. I mean, you're young. You're younger than me. Well,
listen,
I don't know. You're no spring chicken.
I know. I was using a gimbal the other day for like a few hours, and my thighs were wrecked the next morning.
Do you want to explain what a gimbal is, just for any of the people who might not be so?
Like a stabilizer for a camera.
Yeah. I should tell you something really funny about this film. For the longest time, and it wasn't until I started watching this film, the Persian version, directed by Maryam Keshavarz, I got this film, and the film A Simple Wedding?
Oh, yeah.
I got completely merged those two films in my brain for years. Having not seen either. I mean, I've seen the Persian version now, of course. But I don't know why. I was just kept waiting for Tara Grammy to show up. I was waiting for Maz Jobrani to show up. I'd seen the trailer for both films, and just somehow they'd fused into my brain as one movie. It literally, I paused the film half an hour into it. I was like, where's Maz Jobrani? I thought he was part of this family.
Yeah.
And then I looked, I'm like, oh, he's not in the IMDb. So I literally had to click Maz Jobrani's IMDb to what movie am I thinking of? And I saw Simple Wedding, and then I saw Tara Grammy's name, and I'm like, oh, this is a completely different movie.
Simple Wedding, I would say, is a little more of like traditional rom-com.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas this one, I think, leans more
coming of age.
Yeah, coming of age, and and it's more stylized.
Yes. Yeah, I did go into this film thinking this was more of a straight rom-com because I just conflated those two films in my mind. So, a lot of surprises for me watching this film.
Also, the trailer for this definitely makes it look more like a traditional rom-com.
It does, doesn't it? That's what I thought. I haven't gone back to watch the trailer yet, but I remember that might have been why. I should watch the trailer again afterwards, but I do wonder if
this movie is deserving of a way better trailer.
Sony Pictures distributed the film, and I wonder if part of their way of trying to think of marketing the film, they had to lean into a little bit more of the tonally like romantic and comedic elements. Have you watched the trailer recently?
No.
Okay. Should we jump into a plot summary?
Yep.
Layla, an Iranian-American woman struggling to reconcile her dual identities, keeps her sprawling family at arm's length when they reunite in New York for her father's heart transplant, until a buried secret forces her and her estranged mother to confront the past and discover they are more alike than either imagined. This thing is dominating the reviews with an 84% Rotten Tomato score and a 93% audience score. Did you know that?
I did not. That's excellent.
That's excellent. So I ask you, Farhan June, what did you think of the Persian version?
I buried the lead a little bit with what I said about the trailer. I will admit that when I saw the trailer, I was like when it was first announced, I was really excited because I felt like we were really missing Iranian movies in this space, right? Which is the whole reason why I went to make Tehranto to begin with. And so when the trailer came out, I was like...
I imagine, by the way, sorry, this is an important interruption. I imagine Tehranto will come up a lot today in our conversations.
Maybe.
But please continue.
So when I saw the trailer, I was really excited, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is kind of hokey. I was really disappointed, so I actually put off watching the movie for a while. But when I watched it, I was very pleasantly surprised. I was like, this is a lot of fun. Right off the bat, this film has its own voice. It has its own style. The acting is great. The blocking is great. The directing is great. Overall, for me, just in summary, I would say the writing, pretty decent. The directing, very freaking good. Like, very, very strong. And it felt like I was like in the hands of a director with a vision. What do you think?
I absolutely loved it. I do think I fell into the same trap of probably seeing an earlier trailer of this film and thinking it leaned a little bit more slapstick rom-com-y. And right off the bat, I got the sense I'm in the capable hands of a director who has a strong sense of style and tone. I have seen her previous film Circumstance, but not for years, like over a decade ago. And this film actually is quite different tonally from everything, like production design, subject matter. It's like a completely different film. I think, just starting from the idea of a woman wearing a burkatini, which she goes to, like, the main character goes to a Halloween costume wearing a burqa on the top, and she's essentially in her underwear in the bottom half, carrying a surfboard. And she hooks up with a guy who's also in a Hedwig and the Angry Inch costume, or he's coming from work doing a production of that play. To like instantly doing like a breaking the fourth wall, omniscient narrator telling you, carrying you by the hand, and very quickly leading to a almost Bollywood-esque rendition of Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah. With
the Iranian villagers. I'm just like, this is awesome. What an awesome blend of like modernity, Iranian culture, adaptation. It's a fusion of like a lot of the things. You can see that she's very deliberately imitating and kind of trying to elevate in her own tone and style and language. And I was just so excited for the rest of the film 10 minutes in. And I think, like, for the large part, this film does not let down the audience. If you are on board with the first 10 minutes of this film, you will be largely on board for everything that happens. I think I'm so glad a film like this exists in the Iranian diaspora, like, in terms of filmmakers living outside of Iran Iranian filmmakers living outside of Iran making films. And I'm excited to dive into it because there's so much I want to dissect about this film, and I'm glad to hear you really enjoyed it, because it did make me think of your film. Toronto does lean a little bit heavier to the rom-com aspects of it. It is really specifically about the romance and the relationship between those two characters, to the point where they're both dual leads, I guess. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
This is singular lead. Well, although you can argue this is a story about the three generations of women, specifically honed in on the mother and daughter relationship. And just the fact the mother was also, quite surprisingly, as much of the protagonist as the daughter was really nice to see slowly unravel.
In a lot of ways, I actually would have kind of preferred if this movie was like a two-parter.
Right.
Like, I kind of would have really liked to have seen the mom's story as a film and then her story as a separate film.
I think it does a great job of being efficient storytelling. And it didn't leave me necessarily feeling like there was more story that I like. It didn't feel like I was left with question marks, I guess.
I definitely didn't have question marks. I guess in terms of structure and pacing, I think I would have liked more if it was like, okay, here's one and then here's another. Or even like, this is going to sound ridiculous, I would have, like, I want to see the 4-hour cut of this.
Yeah.
Where it's like 2 hours mom, intermission, 2 hours daughter.
Yeah.
Or like start with the daughter, then you get like an hour and a half of mom, intermission, and then hour and a half of daughter.
I don't know about what the larger cut would be, but from interviews I'd watched, she said the original draft she wrote was 180 pages.
That's the one I want to see.
I don't know. I don't think she shot that. I think with her producer, she broke it down to a 90-page shooting script.
Yeah. Maryam, if you're listening, send me that script.
Yeah.
I want to read it.
I really, really enjoyed from the top when she's first making out with that guy. She talks about using the history and references of divorce as a metaphor. She's like, I'm a child of divorce because the two countries I'm from were
used to love each other.
Used to love each other, and like all great loves, they end in divorce.
Yeah, I
and
thought that was good.
The little animations that come, and it's just such a like fireworks of tone and color and things. It's just really kind of exciting.
I really appreciated those animations. There's like so many things that happened in this movie that I wanted to do with our film, but our budget was like 5% of this budget. But it was like under 100,000. We had animation throughout the film
in the script,
which got cut. Which ended up getting cut. So seeing it in this movie immediately, I was like, yes, like a lot of seeing this movie felt very cathartic to me because it was like, I was happy to see a Iranian film in the diaspora do it.
Yeah.
I also just want to give some credit to this movie where a lot of times when you have movies in the Iranian diaspora, they don't really show main characters as coming from a Muslim family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they usually draw, like, unless it's specifically the movie is going to be about the fact that they're Muslim.
Yeah.
They gloss over it.
Yeah. But the reality is that the largest religious group of Iranians are Muslims. I would say like it's pretty fair to say most Iranians at this point are like some degree of like agnostic, atheist, secular, spiritually non-religious, yada yada yada. That's probably the biggest group of Iranians. But the biggest religious group is definitely Muslims. And we haven't seen that representation in diaspora cinema.
Yeah.
So seeing it here, I was actually like, oh, like major props. And it didn't, like, with that being said, it also didn't feel like it was this like religious propaganda piece.
Right, yeah.
It was very nuanced in its representation of that. So props to the film.
Yeah, it's there was like the little, again, during the constant omniscient narrators, she tells the audience that she's from a Shia Muslim family and that they believe in magic and mysticism, and that if you pray to Imam Zaman, he'll come in many forms to like save you out of situations, which I do have questions about story-wise in the script, but I'll get to there when I'll have specifically questions for you. And I know you're not Muslim, but okay, so just maybe whatever. Yes. I also just want to say that this specific line really kind of moved me when they play the Cyndi Lauper song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Just how specifically, Maryam says in her interviews that this is one of her favorite songs growing up as a child, and she literally had to smuggle the cassette tapes like the character does in the film.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning, it says at the beginning, this is a mostly true story. Or it's like a true story, sort of, I think it says. Or kind of.
Yeah.
And through the research I did, it seems like this is very quite autobiographical, down to the point where, okay, so she doesn't have 8 brothers.
Does she have a kid?
But she has 7 brothers.
That's a lot of brothers.
So like she literally just added a brother.
Oh, it's probably the half brother or whatever.
Oh yeah, probably. She does have a child. She did conceive the child with a guy she was dating at a time that she met at a Halloween party where she wore a burkatini.
Whoa.
So she wore that. And her father had a heart transplant. And when the family all got together, she said in one of these interviews at a festival that she would speak to her grandmother, and her grandmother was like, oh, do you want to know the true story about the scandal about your parents and stuff? So like,
oh, wow.
A lot of this is very heavily lifting from her true story and autobiographical version of her life. Which is just cool. It's just an added layer of depth. But when she mentions the Cyndi Lauper lyrics, she goes, the one line that really struck out to me is, some boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world. I want to be the one to walk in the sun. Oh, girls just want to have fun. And I was like, the dagger in my heart of hearing that lyric re-envisioned through an Iranian lens is so heartbreakingly painful and beautiful. And that's the kind of thing that I think this film does really well. In that I had never thought of Cyndi Lauper when you think about women like freedom movement, but those lyrics, boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world, is like, so all of a sudden becomes like a battle cry.
Oh, 100%.
For like what women are going through. And that's what I think Maryam Keshavarz so eloquently does throughout this entire film. If you haven't seen the film, I mean, you can pause the podcast here and go watch it. Cause like, if you already are even marginally interested in a director who's blending these two worlds together, and you haven't seen this film, like, we will probably go to spoilers at some point, and it's a recommendation for me for sure.
Solid.
Anything else you want? I got tons more to say, but
not in my initial thoughts.
Okay, let me ask you a few more things then. The production design. I love how colorful the film is.
Me too.
It's vibrant.
Yeah.
She said in one interview, and I'm blending a little bit into behind the scenes trivia, but I just think this is relevant to where I'm at in my thoughts. She wanted the 80s stuff to feel more American, like the pop sitcoms she watched growing up, because she was influenced on that stuff. She was born in New York, right?
Okay, yeah.
So the 80s stuff was supposed to feel like a sitcom. She wanted the old grandmother's stories to feel like a spaghetti western because grandmothers tell tall tales.
So good. That's so good.
And she wanted the mother's story specifically to feel like, when the mother's young, to feel like a Kiarostami neorealism story. Like a Kiarostami-esque, like, running, like almost like Where's the Friend's House, the way she's like running through the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
So she kind of had these three different worlds in mind, and I think she does a great job. Like between flashback and flashback, you get a different location, you get a different vibe, you get a different seal, and the production design is just outstanding.
Yeah, that's solid. It's funny because to me, the stuff with the grandma, I understand it's like spaghetti western. It almost felt a little more Tarantino to me, which also makes sense because Tarantino drew from spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the natural evolution of that.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that she's saying is supposed to be Kiarostami inspired feels a little more Mahmal Baf than Kiarostami to me. But they're like contemporaries, right?
Yeah.
But I totally see that. I had the same thought, so it's cool to see that that's like intentional.
And on that note, also, like, it was one of the, I don't get to say this that often about Iranian films, but like the hair and makeup really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Just even like even her teenage version of herself with the Cyndi Lauper 80s kind of hair.
Or like the mom's updo.
Was so well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mom's various hairstyles are very well. They show the different eras very well.
Yeah. There is that thing where you have like Leila Mohammadi and Nia Shanor playing mother-daughter. And I remember earlier being like, this age gap is like not that much for it to be mother-daughter. But then I realized when you have Nia Shanor then continuing to play the role in the flashbacks, which makes then the gap more appropriate.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize they were going to do that. I'm like, oh, this is why they did that. And it's a good call that they did that.
Yeah.
But Nia Shanor does a great job of like, she is completely in like obviously playing the same character over generations, but in completely different mindsets each time. Like each period is like a different, might as well be a different woman, right? What she's facing, what she's going through. And the hair and makeup just does so much to elevate. We are seeing there, like her as the real estate agent, her as the mother in the present day, her as the woman in Iran. Like it's so interesting how it does an expert job of combining those things and elevating it.
Yeah.
And on the grandmother note, just like a grandma in an Iranian film talking about anal sex. Yes, I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. And I laughed really hard at that. It reminds me of, I'm going to do a little bit of a personal tangent story.
What kind of personal tangent do you have for this?
It's about anal sex. No, it's not quite. It's a grandmother story about understanding the multitudes that our grandmothers are.
Okay.
Especially Iranian grandmothers. Good catch, though. Friday the 13th, the original one. I rented it when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
Or I got my mom to rent it for me. They didn't care about horror movies I watched. And my grandmother, who was visiting from around the time, she would always like watch whatever I watched, and she didn't care about violence or gore or any of that stuff either. So she was always ironing the clothes while I watched whatever movie I watched. And I remember, I think I had one of my friends over, and we're both watching it, and she's just watching the entire film. And spoilers alert to Friday the 13th, but I'm
glad I watched it last October.
The killer isn't Jason Voorhees, it's his mother. She's getting revenge because her son was killed, blah, blah, blah. And there's a whole final showdown between the final girl and Jason Voorhees' mother. And the two women start like attacking each other, and they're rolling in the mud, and they're kind of tearing each other's clothes. And unprompted, my grandmother, Mom Pavin, God rest her soul, said, "Khop, pes in dotam lesbianan." And which essentially goes, okay, so these two are lesbians.
Right,
I got that.
right.
And I just remember the show. I'm 12. I've hardly ever even heard anyone reference the word lesbian. Like I knew what it was, but like it wasn't thing. I'm not talking about lesbian thing. And it was just the coming from a grandmother and like the confusion of like, why does my grandma know that term? And like, is she getting confused about this moment, or is she making a joke? Yeah. It was, I laughed so hard. Yeah, my friend was with me because I remember like turning to him, we both started laughing so hard. And it was just it's like a thing that I never forgot about how like, man, like grandma has an edge to her. Like even if like pointing that out and knowing that term and all
your
that
mom's
stuff.
mom or your dad's mom?
Yeah, it was my mom's mom. And I just think it's so funny because that the grandmother talking about anal sex in that scene is like, oh, if you don't want to go in the front door, go through the back door, blah, blah. And I was just like, that just gives me like Mom Pappy vibes of like, just so much more aware of like the taboos, like stuff to talk about and like, just like very nonchalant about it.
Well, and
so
she even like talks about how she like kind of encouraged her husband to like get a mistress. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, whatever. It's natural. Men are like this, blah, blah, blah. And then Layla's like, I don't want to know this. Stop talking about it. Yeah,
exactly. Let me just scroll through here.
Some of these actors too, like the way that they got the like younger version and the older version, they like paired them really nicely. Like they really do look like the young, like
yes,
like
I had that note.
The younger version of the grandma really looks like the grandma. The younger version of the mom looks like the mom. The younger version of Layla looks like Layla.
Yeah.
Also, like Layla's accent, like it works for her character. Her Persian accent is like not great because obviously she's like a diaspora kid. And same thing with the young one. Like, so it's still consistent. It's not like, older Layla's Farsi's perfect, and then younger Layla's Farsi has an accent. Like, it's consistent.
Yeah.
And they both have really big eyes. They like have the same shape of face. Like, it's very well cast.
And this film does, like, again, like, for anyone who hasn't seen the film, it does jump between multiple timelines. Like, you have 80s New York, present day New Jersey, 60s Iran. And I'm pretty sure at one point it even jumps to like 40s Iran, because at one point it tells a small tangent story about when the father was a young boy. When her father was having a heart transplant,
you're
is a young
right.
boy.
Yeah.
He's
and
like the protector of books.
Yeah.
He's like in the bookstore.
Yeah, and he
that
has
must
the,
be like,
the
if
lamp on.
Yeah, and if he's meeting his wife in the 60s, and then this is like 10, 15 years or earlier than that, he's like a small child. This must be like late 40s Iran or something.
Yeah, or like early 50s. My reading was like, probably like early 50s.
Which is just cool. I mean, yeah, so it's like jumping all over the world and jumping throughout time. I love the joke about how she's preparing for like the boss's dinner or her husband's dinner, and like the Americans are on time.
Yeah.
She's like, what are the Americans are on time? Well, like, clean up the room. It's like, why are the Americans on time? Which is, Persians know about the deal about being on time.
I mean, I feel like it's one or the other, and I feel like in the diaspora, it's like really settled into just assume everyone's a little late. But
right, yeah.
But my understanding, at least, is like culturally in Iran, it's like polar. It's extremes. Either you're of a family that's like an hour early for everything.
Yeah.
Which is like very inconvenient for the host.
Yeah.
Or you're an hour late for everything, which is also very inconvenient for the host.
Yeah.
So like there's kind of two schools of thought, but in the diaspora, it's kind of all like converged and settled into like err on the side of being late, because it gives your host more time to get ready.
Absolutely.
And it gives you more time to like jigul migul yourself.
Here's Kava question corner for you.
Oh.
Tell me about this recurring Imam Zaman thing. And I thought Layla made a reference of like, oh, he's really cute under that motorcycle helmet, because the motorcyclist comes in and weaves traffic. She's like, you'll understand later. And I thought we were going to reveal who that guy was, but we don't, do we? Do you remember anything about what that? Because that motorcyclist essentially, I would assume, is the one that comes back and saves Neosha Noor's character, the mom, to go to the hospital when Layla's giving birth. So and every time she asks for Imam Zaman, there's this motorcyclist that shows up. And I was confused as to what that was paying off.
Well, I think it's just supposed to be like, oh, like the hand of fate or like angel of God, like type thing.
Yeah.
Because
like she made the comment of him being cute under there or something, no?
I think that was just like a funny line.
Okay. All right. I read into it then. I thought that was going to be a reveal or something. So if you haven't seen the film, watch it. But through the big scandal that is discovered towards the end of the film is that their second child, Vahid, who's the one who's got like a few like substance abuse problems, it's not Shirin's child.
Yeah.
It's a child through what's it called? Extramarital relationship that the father had with someone else who died during childbirth.
Yeah.
You know, I did wonder, like, that seems like a very interesting story thread that isn't really pulled. And I wondered, is that supposed to explain why the mom is specifically so hard on Layla? Because that reveal just kind of offers a glimpse into, it tells me a little bit more about mother and Vahid relationship.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like Jon Snow and Lyanna Stark and Ned Stark. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why I feel like the movie should have almost been two movies, is because I think then you can kind of explore that story thread a little more and make the connection between why she's hard on Layla and that happening a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I can fill in that gap with my own guesses of things of like, oh, maybe she was harder on Layla because she didn't want Layla to end up in the same situation that she did. Or maybe she's harder on Layla because she, like, in a weird way, she resents her daughter that she lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's different ways that you can explore that psychologically in a character. And I think that any one of those is really, really fascinating to see in a film.
Yeah.
But when you have a movie that's like an hour, 40 minutes, and you're kind of exploring duo protagonists over different time periods, you can kind of miss that. So often we are talking about films and talking about how this film would be so much stronger with if you shave off 20 minutes. Yeah.
And you're like, I want another hour and a half to explain this subplot.
Well, not just to explain it, but I think like even just to like live in it and like to...
Yeah.
I think that there's enough of an interesting story here to warrant a much longer movie. which, you know what? Like,
Yeah. You want the
hell.
sequel, 2 Persian, 2 version.
Yeah. Kiarostami has like an hour to spare across all of his movies. Give that hour to Maryam Keshavarz.
Yeah. I see what you mean. There is something that it does end up explaining about how, because of this, she learned to become silent, and her silence became like a way to stay strong. And that's the silence that Layla inherited herself later on, which is why she doesn't communicate with Layla. But it doesn't really explain for the 6 sons in between. Like, does this mother have a good relationship with those 6 other sons?
Yeah.
Is this negligence, or not negligence, but is this distance and void a Layla and mother specific thing? Or is she doing like this with all her kids? That's a little bit of the stuff that I thought I just was interested in knowing. But I want to get into a bit of that into deeper analysis anyways.
I would have also loved if Vahid was a little more dominant in the film because of that reveal. Like if he had more of a presence in her life, like I don't need to have like equal presence of like the 8 brothers. But I think Vahid specifically, I think could have had more of a presence, and to see a little bit more of like his troubles and all this stuff, which would have lent really well to the lead up to the wedding.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you get like the payoff with the wedding. And when you have that bombshell reveal of his parentage, right? Or his parentage? Is that
his
right?
lineage, or parentage.
His lineage, yeah. I think it hits a lot stronger.
You know, and I just wondered now, looking back, does Vahid ever even have a conversation with Layla in this film? Do the two exchange words? Like, not, I don't include any like time where all the brothers are. Well, I mean, just like, don't include any of the time where all the brothers are in the room talking to her. Are they ever alone to have a single word to each other?
I don't think so.
Yeah, might have benefited from it. But anyways, again, we're nitpicking, and this is a podcast where we're trying to fill time so we can sell mattress ads. But I do want to end up, before we move on to behind the scenes and trivia, that the Arzu name reveal when Layla does have her child at the end was so moving and powerful. And I don't know if it's about me becoming I'm a father now. My first child was a daughter who's 5 years old. My second child is a son. But like, it broke me and I cried. I just like, I'm like becoming a shell of the man. Well, I'm in my late stage Tony Soprano stuff, or like Robert De Niro in Analyze This, because everything's breaking me and I cry now. Yeah. But like, I was really moved to tears by the end. And like, even the final dance again, when they do the full version of The Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I was just like in tears. I was like fully in tears by the end of the movie, and I didn't expect to be. And I think again, it's a powerful and moving movie, but like, man, having a daughter and like just thinking about what you're leaving. Anyways, doesn't matter.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You're gonna start crying again? You can cry if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I'm going to try. If it's good for the podcast and selling mattress ads, then I'll cry.
This time on a special episode of Cinema Rex.
On a very special Cinema Rex. I just want my mother to love me. Behind the scenes in trivia, we haven't done a Keshavarz film yet. So let's do a little quick bio. Maryam Keshavarz was born in New York in 1975. She received her BA in Comparative Literature from Northwestern University, an MA degree in Near Eastern Studies from the University of Michigan. And she said in an interview that after 9/11, she was really compelled to become a filmmaker and storyteller as a way of recapturing her own narrative. She made a short black and white film on 16 millimeter. And with that, she was awarded a full scholarship to study and receive an MFA degree in film direction at NYU, the Tisch School of the Arts. Tisch?
You okay?
Tissue? I don't know. I've never said it out loud. I've only read it. Tisch School of the Arts. It's a good school. It's a good film school. The Persian version had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 21st, 2023. It received a standing ovation from the audience shortly after Sony Pictures Classic acquired distribution rights to the film. In an interview, she said that it got into Sundance 2 days after she had finished making the film. She had finished the final sound mix 48 hours before it premiered at Sundance.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She said as a motive to making this film, joy was important to her because as she was writing it, Trump's first era had fully formed and the Muslim ban was taking place, and she wanted to show the lighter side of Iranian stories and Muslim stories. So she was really quite motivated by that. Nusha Noor, who plays the mother, Shirin, and music composer Rostam Batmanjli. Yeah, it's Batmanglij.
Wow.
Produced an Iranian adaptation of Girls Just Want to Have Fun with Nusha singing, which is the version you hear in the end of the film.
Oh, that's her singing?
Yeah, that's her singing at the end. I think it's the Cyndi Lauper version in the middle of the film.
Is it actually her voice?
Yeah, because then they released a music video for it on YouTube, and you can see Nyosha singing it.
Wow, she has a really good voice.
She's a great singer. She has a lot of songs on YouTube, actually, you can find. They made the Iranian adaptation so that there's a mix of the Iranian musical stuff, and the lyrics she sings later on is like, she says the girls just want to have fun. It's like Dokhtar Fam Khan, whatever. There's like a little bit of Farsi in that. So it's a really great music video, fun. And again, it's the kind of blending of worlds that I really love. So definitely check it out. You can find it if you type in like Persian version, girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, it's called Dokhtar Fun Mikhan Dige.
It's not called that, but that's great. As I mentioned earlier, it's a fairly autobiographical story. Her grandmother did tell her a story about a scandal involving her family when the whole family had actually got together for her father's heart transplant. The story came to shape when she started thinking about her mother as her own type of writer and started seeing the film about 3 generations of women telling their versions of the story. So it's sort of recapturing your narrative. You know, like that. This idea was really interesting to her.
I feel like it's always like, there's like 3 times when like family drama always like resurfaces.
Yeah.
It's weddings.
Marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. Weddings.
Heart transplants.
Well, like big health issues and funerals.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 times when like you always have like everyone in the family gets together, emotions are high, and then all of a sudden like a bunch of secrets come out and everyone's like, whoa, what? Like, I didn't know this.
This is a little piece of trivia that I'm going to tell every Iranian filmmaker that wants to shoot scenes in Iran, including you, Farhan, for any future films.
Tell me.
Because her 1960s Shiraz scenes were excellent. You know where she shot that? It was in Turkey, in specifically a UNESCO preserved city. So the old city has never been destroyed or updated or anything. It's a UN preserved village. And I thought the city looked great. Like,
I was gonna guess Turkey.
Yeah.
A lot of people will shoot in Turkey, Jordan, and Greece.
Yeah. Girls Just Want to Have Fun was Maryam's favorite song growing up. And she, as I mentioned earlier, she did smuggle the cassettes into Iran when she went to visit her family. And Rostam Batmanglij, he's a founding member of Vampire Weekend, the band.
Oh,
which I didn't know that.
Oh, that's why the name is familiar. I do know.
Are you a Vampire Weekend fan? I don't know their music. I know the band, but I know
people who've like listened to them and they've like put it on around me and stuff. So like, I had like friends who like them, and they would tell me that every once in a while he pops up in some other fun fact. Like he does a lot of things outside of just
his last name has Batman in it.
Yeah, his last name is Batman.
So a lot of Bat references there.
Yeah.
That's it for BTS and trivia. Shall I throw you to critical reactions?
Yeah.
At Sundance, this was nominated for the Grand Jury Prize. It was the winner of the Audience Award. And at Sundance, it was also the 2023 winner of the Waldo Salt Screenwriting Award for dramatic films. At the Calgary International Film Festival, it was the nominee for Best International Feature, International Narrative Competition, 2023 winner of the Audience Award. And there's tons of other nominations and awards and wins got. Those are the 2 I just wanted to highlight. Wendy Ide of The Observer said, Maryam Keshavarz' drama is an astute dissection of mother-daughter discord. It's perceptive and candid in its insights into the push-pull cultural struggle experienced by second-generation immigrants. And finally, Nick Allen of RogerEbert.com called the film an ebullient rule breaker and said it was one of the most entertaining and moving experiences I've had at Sundance this year. That's it for critical reactions.
Solid.
Farhan Mon Ami, why don't you take it away with deeper analysis?
So coming up against like generations of father-son stories, it's really great to see that this mother-daughter-grandmother story is getting out there. And even though I am neither a mother nor a daughter, I'm still able to connect with this story because you find that these like intergenerational trauma stories are they are universal. And it obviously there's like some specificity involved in gender roles, which is really great to see in this film. But it is a universal story.
I thought it's this idea of like women being told they can't do something and finding a way to be authentically themselves. I like how every generation of women, I think with the exception of grandmother, they keep breaking the fourth wall. And they start telling the audience how they felt.
Yeah.
Layla definitely does this, but like the mother does this as a younger. There's a 4-minute sequence where the young 13-year-old Shirin breaks the fourth wall and talks about how she wants to take command of her future. she's not going to let other people decide for it. Remember, like, the kid throws a ball in the air and everything time freezes, and this like 14-year-old girl goes on like I think it's a 1 or 2. And I think this idea of like breaking the fourth wall, confiding in the audience, it's like women of that generation, demanding their own voice. It's a story about recapturing your own narrative for each generation. I think there's a really interesting moment where Shirin became silent because of the things that happened. And then later on, she goes, I found strength in silence. And then Layla goes, I inherited that from my mother. She goes, pain can't touch you if you don't talk about it, right? And I actually think the fact that because I don't agree with that sentiment, that pain can't touch you if you don't talk about it, but it's something that like women or anyone, like immigrants who traveled, refugees, silence becomes like an armor for you. And it's a way to like endure migration, betrayal, sacrifice. But at the same time, that same stuff for the next generation becomes like emotional distance. Right? Layla feels like separated from her mother because her mother learned to become silent.
Yeah.
And like withdraw. And for Shirin, that's like an armor. That's like a tactical advantage. But for Layla, that just ends up becoming this emotional distance and a fragmentation. There's miscommunication.
Yeah.
And so like it's like I think like on a higher thematic level, it's like Layla's thing, I inherited that from my mother, so I'm also one who doesn't talk their feelings. But it's like there's this void between them, and that kind of goes back to like transgenerational trauma that we've always talked about. That every Iranian immigrant, not Iranian immigrant, a lot of people in general, you inherited trauma from your parents.
Yeah.
And I think what's really interesting about the mother-daughter relationship is they don't have a strong relationship. They don't have this strong bond. They, of course, love each other, but there's this huge gap of unspoken stuff. She's closer with her grandmother than she is with her own mother. And I think a lot of that becomes because the mother was so traumatized by what she went through and what she had to do to survive.
I feel like that's such a recurring thing a lot of times where where people end up becoming closer with their grandparent in a lot of ways.
Right, yeah.
Especially
like Junan.
Yeah, especially I've noticed with a lot of Iranian women become very close with their grandmothers.
Yeah. So I mean that's my deeper theme right there of like this idea of like silence and how it transforms. And how this film is about women finding their voice. But then the irony of that is, despite their recapturing their own narrative, the internal irony is that these two are not speaking to each other. So write an academic thesis essay on that.
Okay, I will.
And go get your A+.
I will. Thank you.
At the Titch Film School of Arts.
Listen, we can't all have MFAs in film.
No. I do, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You and... Noura,
Maryam Keshavarz,
and Mertosh.
We all are part of the exclusive club of 4.
Yeah,
the MFers.
Yeah, I'm an FMer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Farhan Moradi.
Oh, I didn't even get that. I got what you did. I thought you said MFer, and you were just like,
no,
riffing on what I said. All right, you are an FMer. Best scene, Farhan. FM radio station.
As the movie was going on, I was like, oh, this is going to be really hard for me to pick a best scene because so many scenes are stylized and a lot of fun. But then this one scene came up and I was like, oh, this is 100% it. It's when the grandma is telling the story with like how they roll up with guns.
Oh yeah.
On the dad. Yeah. And it was the like 3 of them. It's just so gangster to watch. Yeah. It's like the mom, the the grandma, her brother, and like I don't know who the last person was. I don't know if it was like another Amu or something, or another Dai, but it was like the 3 of them show up with the guns. I'm like, this is gangster.
That's the spaghetti western feel, right?
So good. Yeah.
I have 2. I figured you might say one of them doesn't count, but I think the first time they break into the song and it does become this like, I keep saying Bollywood just because it's not a typical trope of Iranian films to do those dance sequences.
But I also wouldn't say it's Bollywood. Like it almost just feels like a musical number.
Yeah, music. But just something about the choreography felt specifically Bollywood. But I haven't seen enough Bollywood films to know. But that for me was a huge moment because I'm like, oh, this film is so different, and I love that. But if that doesn't count because it's not inherently a scene, it's more of a musical number. I did like the young Shirin, 13 years old, freezing time and doing a 4-minute monologue about choosing your own destiny.
That was cool.
And like literally, if you look in the background, everybody's frozen and she's walking around them. And there's little things like the kid throwing the ball in the air and the ball is frozen in the air. That stuff was really cool.
Really good.
Damn, that's poetry.
Obviously, I've had some issues with culture. But can you blame me? I come from 2 countries that used to be madly in love with each other.
And like any great romance, it ended in a bitter divorce.
I just really liked that metaphor of using that relationship as like a marriage gone awry. It's just very unique. I hadn't ever heard of that or thought of that before, so I really enjoyed it.
That was very good.
Yeah. What's your damn this poetry?
It's when the family first meets the guy that she hooked up with, that she got pregnant with.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the dinner table scene.
And they're like trying to understand, like, is he gay? Is he like trans? All this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm straight, but I do drag. Yada yada yada. And then one of the brothers explains,
he's thespian, not a lesbian.
Okay, classy.
Yeah.
good.
That's a good line. Best performance.
Who you got?
Okay, well, let me go first and I'll ask you. I'm torn. I really liked Leila Mohammadi and Yusha Noor equally. I really like the grandmother, Bella Warda Mamanjun, and Sachli Gholamalizad. Young Mamanjun. They're both, I mean, listen, the cast is really great. Even young Leila, or rather, sorry, young Shireen. So good.
Yo, young Shireen did a really good job of like
Yeah.
selling this like mature 13-year-old, or this 13-year-old that was like forced into adulthood at such a like tragically young age.
Yeah. She also she is an Iranian citizen. I heard in the interviews they did casting online and like found her, and she was an actual 13-year-old.
She's really good.
Cast. So yeah, really good. She was not a professional actor before this.
I'm gonna give it to Leila Mohammadi. It was very close between her and Yusha Noor.
Yeah,
but I'll give it to Leila.
I can't.
The
I'm
grandma
just so
is so good though.
They're all really great.
Yeah.
Testament to Maryam. Great directing.
Yeah, legit.
Festival of Cons. Okay, here's the sillier one. Leila Mohammadi looks way too beautiful during and after giving birth.
Okay.
She's like, you could just see like, it's like a movie set makeup artist that's like applied the makeup and done the hair.
Yeah.
She's just gotten through giving birth. Having been...
Also, there's like all her brothers are in the room, like just like watching and cheering it on.
Yeah. I think very stunning, gorgeous actor. I feel like you should have amped up the sweat and got rid of the makeup for that scene.
One scene definitely felt more movie than it did real. Like some scenes in this movie feel more movie and stylized, and some feel more grounded and serious.
Yeah. Which I think is a deliberate choice. Like tonally, she wants it to feel jumping up and down.
Yeah. But I think for me, this scene, especially because it was like one of the last scenes in the movie, I think this scene might have actually benefited more from it being one of the more grounded scenes. It's also a way to like really bring back that whole, like the generational thing. Also, is the grandma alive at the end?
I think so, yeah.
It would have been cool to have in the room the mom, the grandma, and Layla, and then the baby.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would have been, there was like a really good opportunity there to like tie it all back in.
My only other thing, do you have others?
I thought the acting in the movie was pretty damn good. With the exception of like, there was this one doctor character that showed up pretty early in the movie. And I was like, this one, especially because a lot of the other acting is so good, this one actor like stands out like a sore thumb to me. I was like,
is he the guy that likes dumplings?
The guy that likes dumplings. Oh, okay. Wait, just wait. And then another non-Iranian actor doctor character popped up, and I was like, oh, this other actor is also not great, and they're also playing a doctor. And then the dumpling doctor showed up, and I was like, oh, this is just like a consistent issue I have with this, is that like all these doctor characters are just like not great. Everyone else is good. It's just like those three characters. It was just funny that they all happen to be playing doctors.
Fair enough. I didn't catch it as much as you did, I don't think, or I wasn't maybe paying as close attention. But yeah. For me, my only other note is I don't think I love the title of this film.
Right.
And I don't know. I can't really explain very eloquently why, beyond the fact that I think the Persian version sounds a little too gimmicky for how deep and thematic the film is.
Yeah.
I think the Persian version, just the fact that it rhymes and it just sounds like it's the Persian version of a coming of age or whatever it is, I don't think it actually, I think it does a disservice to how profoundly fascinating and beautiful the film is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to jump a little bit ahead because I'm going to mention this film in my double feature lineup too. is this has very strong shades of Fazia Mirza's Queen of My Dreams.
Yeah.
And the title Queen of My Dreams is so eloquently profound. Like, I just love the title.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like had there been a version of that type of sound, and I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would be. Something about of mothers and daughters, or something. I don't know, something. The Persian version, I think, undercuts the romanticized beauty of the relationships here.
Yeah.
So I just would have pushed for something more poetic, perhaps. I don't know.
It does feel like a lot of the stuff, like almost like the marketing stuff around this movie, doesn't represent how profound the actual film is in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder, was it titled something else, and then
I don't know, but like for me, it's like trailer, poster, title. All three of those tell me, oh, this is like a mainstream kind of campy rom-com. But then you watch the actual movie and you're like, whoa, this is like very emotional and profound. And there's a lot going on here. There's a very rich story here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even down to like the expectations on like daughters, on mothers, on young girls, on adults, on, you know what there's so many layers to this story, which is also partially why I would have loved the longer version of this, is because I would have loved to have like lived in this film longer. But yeah, I wonder if like this movie might have had a bigger splash if it was marketed as more of a coming of age and less of a rom-com.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised how little the sperm donor was in the movie. Just based on the trailer.
Oh, right. The plot line. You mean the Hedwig and the Angry Inch guy?
Yeah. Like the trailer almost made it look like it would be like My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah, which I mean, I think she's used that film as a corollary multiple times in report. Like, she wants it to feel like that.
Yeah. Which the setup is,
to a certain extent.
Yeah, the setup is a little bit, but I think that this movie is a lot deeper than that movie.
Mm-hmm.
My only other nitpick is like some of the accents, but like that's a issue with diaspora filmmaking, is like you don't have access to like native speakers. And so sometimes that means like you're getting someone who speaks perfect English and you're trying to get them to like put on a Persian accent, and sometimes in some scenes it's not 100% accurate, or other way around, you're casting someone from the diaspora to play someone who's fluent in a language, and when they're speaking that language it's not perfect. There's one character that I think might have been speaking like Afghan Persian as opposed to like Iranian Persian, but like that's absolutely a nitpick, and that's just a result of like, you know, when you're making diaspora films, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single Iranian diaspora film that hasn't come up against that issue, right? Like think of Girl Walks Home Alone at Night had that same problem, right? My movie had that problem. Jasmine's movie had that problem. Like all of our movies have this problem because we're dealing with diaspora actors. And
only a specific type of Iranian will catch. Like,
yeah.
I can't catch it because my ear to that is not strong enough. So like, a lot of Iranians who are not born in that culture, like you specifically, would catch it because you actually grew up speaking way more Farsi in your household than I did.
And there's varying degrees of it too, right? Like when I was watching Reading Lolita in Tehran, like the Persian accents didn't really bump me in that movie.
You watched that film, eh?
Yeah.
Future Hollywood hit show?
Yeah. But then like Mertosh and Sadaf and Golan and stuff, they were all saying how like a lot of times the accents bumped them and it was like distracting to them. But they like grew up in Iran, right? So it's different.
Yeah. Let's go to double feature lineup.
Okay.
I have quite a few in my hands, so why don't you go first? I have a quadruple feature lineup.
That's a lot. Okay, so I had, you know, it's funny. I thought I would have one going into it, one or two of them going into it, just based on like what I had seen of the film. The two that I thought I would pick were
Batman Begins.
Yeah, Batman Begins, because of the guy from Vampire Weekend.
The composer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One was My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yep.
And the other one was Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, yeah.
But then when I watched the actual movie, I was like, oh, no. This is Queen of My Dreams. Is like definitely what you would double feature line up this with.
Yeah. Hold on. Maryam, Keshavarz, June. If you're listening to this podcast at one point and you haven't seen that film, I would implore you to see it because it's from a Pakistani director named Fazia Mirza, who I mean, they are very similar movies,
But
aren't they?
I would say what I would say is it's not like this is the Iranian version of that. I would say they're like
They're different in
complementary
those ways.
pieces.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why this would make such a good double feature lineup.
Exactly.
Is because those two are complementary pieces.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying somebody stole the idea for the other. I don't even know which film went into production first. I think they were actually ironically made around the exact same time.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's just really funny because it's another like BIPOC queer voice from a woman who is telling her own story in a lot of ways by telling her mother's story.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we're traveling to a colorful, mythical version of 1960s Pakistan.
Yeah.
Like to tell the mother's story, to tell the daughter, it's like very interestingly similar.
The main difference though there is that tonally, it's almost the reverse with Queen of My Dreams.
Yeah.
Where the contemporary stuff is more muted and grounded.
Yeah.
And the flashback stuff, like to her mom, is way more like colorful, bright, whatever, because it's supposed to be like 60s Pakistan, right? Whereas with Persian version, it's the other way around.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to tell Fazia to
watch this too.
So yeah, I of course had Queen of My Dreams. Do you have anything else other than Queen of Dreams, or was that
That's
just
my
such
main
a gold
one?
standard?
Yeah, that's my main one.
Okay. I of course give Tehranto a shout out for that. This would make an excellent double feature with Tehranto for all of the same reasons of, I think, tonally very similar. The comedy, it reminds me of Chile. You have breaking the fourth wall in both films.
I would not want to be present for that because like there's so much.
Why?
Because there's so much that, look, I'm very proud of Tehranto, right? Obviously there's like a lot of lessons.
It's a micro budget film.
Yeah.
You did the version you can with the
we
should be proud of
for
it.
For people listening, the budget of Tehranto was less than 100,000 American.
Yeah.
So in fact, when you subtract like marketing costs, it might have even been less than 100,000 Canadian.
And marketing costs meant you were screaming out the title from the corner of Dundas Square.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, I also wanted to, as we were talking, I added Junam to this list because I actually think Junam, the documentary which we've done an episode on, would be a very nice pairing of grandmothers and mothers.
Junam's a really good one.
And I just wanted to also point out Wayne Wang's The Joy Luck Club.
Oh, yeah.
From 1993, which I hadn't thought about, but Maryam did reference it quite often in her interviews. And I was like, oh, of course. I saw that film like in the late 90s. But, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's about 4 Chinese women who, with their mothers, they like dive into their past and they try to find themselves. And again, it's very mother-daughter relationship and the complex, difference of like living outside of the culture versus inside the culture.
Have you seen The Farewell?
Yes, I have. Yeah. This is similar to that.
With The Farewell, I haven't seen The Farewell, but The Farewell was a movie that...
I think Farewell's different tonally, and I remember not... I like the Persian version a lot more. Okay.
We got The Farewell as a corollary to Tehranto a lot. That's why I was
interesting.
The
Farewell was sadder, if I recall.
Right.
Hollywood remake. I think there's no need to make a Hollywood. Maybe like in 2075.
Or give me the 4-hour cut of this.
Yes.
You know what the other thing is for me that I think is like that I want to give a lot of credit to Fazia for with how she structured her film is that the story with the daughter is really not the main story.
You're talking about Queen of My Dreams.
Yeah, Queen of My Dreams. Is really not the main story with Queen of My Dreams. Right?
Yeah.
It's the setup and it's the conclusion. And then it also kind of like comes in, it's like sprinkled in to like connect moments in the mom's life. But really, Queen of My Dreams is the story of the mom, if you think about it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Which this is doing to a certain degree too.
To a certain degree, but I think by the time that we get into it, we spent so much time with Layla that it almost feels more like it's like, okay, here's Layla's story, here's this, now we're over here, where I would have almost preferred if it was either half the movie was Layla's story, like for an hour and a half, you have an intermission, come back for an hour and a half, it's the mom's story, or other way around in terms of like chronology, or have less of Layla's story and you just do like, you bookend the film with Layla and maybe like at each turning point you have one scene to show what's going on in present day. But then you focus more on Shiri.
I liked it as is.
Oh no, I like it as is too. I'm saying if you're gonna do a remake,
I see. Okay.
Yeah. If you're gonna like change something, that's what I would suggest. Is like focus on the mom and then use Shirin as a framework, or turn it into like I don't know, like a 2-part movie or like a single 4-hour movie with a But still let Maryam Keshavarz make it. Her directing is really good.
Final thoughts and grades. This is an A for me. It's the easiest A. I just think more movies like this. I love the color. I love the production design, everything from hair and makeup, the performances by everyone, the way the story interweaves, the intergenerational trauma, the comedy, starting with a Burkatini. It's just like top down, like, and the musical numbers. What's not to love? A.
Solid. Good choice. I am giving this movie a B+. I really liked it. That puts it in good company with movies like Where's the Friend's House and A Separation. And it's funny, like all three of those very tonally different movies, but I have like similar appreciation for all three of them. I think that it tells a really important story. It explores a corner of cinema that I think Iranian films are severely lacking in. I think we need more genre Iranian films. And it does it in a very unique way that shows that Maryam has a very strong voice. Again, I think the writing, pretty good. The directing in this, freaking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, B+, which means the Cinema Rex show average for the Persian version is A-.
What Maryam Keshavarz accomplishes with the Persian version is something rarely afforded to Iranian stories in cinema: multiplicity. Instead of flattening the diaspora experience into trauma or exoticism, she gives us a contradiction, humor, scandal, sexuality, pop music. The film refuses the reductive lens often placed on Iranian narratives and instead insists on color, messiness, and female subjectivity across generations. In centering these three women, the grandmother, the mother, the daughter, each narrating her own version of the truth, Keshavarz does something quietly radical. She allows Iranian women to be loud, funny, sexual, contradictory, and deeply human. The result is not simply representation, but reclamation. This is a film that understands that inheritance is complicated and that identity is not a binary between Iran and America, but a layered emotional archive. In a cinematic landscape that so often reduces Middle Eastern stories to geopolitics, the Persian version chooses intimacy, and that choice feels both political and profoundly necessary. Thank you, Farhan June, for watching the Persian version with me.
Thank you, Kaveh.
I love all that you do. You know how I feel about you.
Unfortunately.
To all our listeners, thank you for tuning in and listening to us talk about this wonderful Iranian film. Follow us at Cinema Rex Podcast on Instagram.
Like, comment, subscribe.
You can write it. What's our email address?
Yeah, cinemarexpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. Send your hate mail to Farhan directly.
Yeah.
And to everybody else, Be'omi de Didar.
Bye. Music for Cinema Rex was written and performed by Sohail Sadinejad.